Greetings and salutations, citizens. It is Wolfphototech, and here we are with another little overview video. This time, as you can see, it's for Sword and Caravan, which is an expansion to, let's just say it's an OSR product that can be used with any OSR product. And I mean specifically OSR products of the D&D persuasion. And this is also an expansion to Lion and Dragon by the RPGPundit. This book largely covers the Silk Road area at the end of the Third Crusade. You can go to his channel to get more history on it, specifically. But as you can see, the entire book contains a great deal of classical medieval art. Has a beautiful border around all the pages. A beautifully written out comprehensive table of contents. Everything is very well laid out in this book. Up top in the center is typically the section you are in. And it is well over 189. It's 189 pages of awesome. This book covers the Middle East to the Far East, from basically modern day Israel to all the way out to the approximately the east coast of China. The credits are right over here. Then there's a list of tables. So this is really nice about this book, that there happens to be an entire content section just listing out all the different tables. Yet again, more classical medieval style artwork. Particularly focused around the Middle East to the Far East. Beautiful quote by Marco Polo. I have not told the half of it. I have yet... Let me try that again. I have not told the half of it. What I saw, for I knew that I would not be believed. And then the first section is the Silk Road campaign, which starts out with the Third Crusade. And then it goes through, there's a section on notes on the setting and culture, social status, to establish everything. In true medieval cultures, your social status, your relationship to the religious state, and the township and nation you came from was extremely important. Literally, the fact that you grew up in one family versus another family made a ton of difference. And then we have a section on religion. Beautiful piece of artwork. And then a section talking about a little bit about magic, monsters, and miracles. Snail fighting a rabbit. Life is cheap. Morality, sexuality, and the role of women, which is actually a rather meaty section. Goes from here all the way to over here. By the way, this is a medieval authentic campaign. So this book basically establishes a magical but realistic world, as if it was actually the Middle East, and is going from the Silk Road all the way out to China. Even the players are pretty much the same for the most part, with adjustments for the magical element and monsters. The Crusader States and the city of Acre such as you got Antioch, Tripoli, and Caractacus Cavaliers. I really needed to get my brother, who is actually the expert on Eastern cultures, to come here to help me with this, but he's busy working his other job. But anyways, I'm going to try to do my best. Tyr, Acre, Kingdom of Saladin, which is actually quite big. The Seljuk Turks, the Khwarazm Shiraz and Burqa, the Gurids, Lao and Karakatan, and so forth. And it continues on. The Zhao Tengut, the Jin Dynasty, and the Song China. So these are all the major cultures along the Silk Road going from Middle East all the way to China. Last being the Song Chinese. And then we get into the Mongols, which is very last, which is basically the capper for the end of the campaign as the Mongols come in to do their chaos to the world. And we have this delightful single banner or split gazetteer style map. And all the blue stars are the major cities, and all the red stars are the cities that are just off of the main path. So there you go. And as you continue through the book, I'm not going to show every single thing. So we go back to Acre, Hatin, Damascus, and such, all the little cities. You get several maps, hex maps. This is basically there's Nazareth right there. So this is basically modern day Israel right in here. So you come in on, you start in this area, you start right here in Cairo, which is Egypt. You travel up this way, boop, into Israel and the Middle East. And then you travel off this way. Now, in this book, all these maps actually continuously connect all the way through. So if you truly wanted to, you could take all these hex maps and photocopy them out. And you could take a photo editor and stack them all together. And you end up with a complete band of maps going all the way from the Middle East to China and so forth. So each one of these sections covers all the major locations as well as some of the sub-locations. I'm going to flip through this. I'm not going to show every single one of these, but it is actually rather comprehensive and beautiful. I would very much love it if the RPG Pundit would actually make a monster book. Would make a monster book containing more monsters and an animal book which contains more animals and some more expansions for the regions around his campaigns and his areas. But yet again, delightful artwork appropriate to the time and from the time or slightly after. And it just keeps going and going, and it's quite beautiful. And this whole section, all the way up to page 60. So everything all the way up to page 60 is system neutral. So you could use everything from page 60 forward in your Labyrinth Lords or Lamentations of the Flame Princess or Swords and Wizardry campaigns. Perfectly fine. You can even take this and use it in your AD&D first edition, second edition, basic D&D, etc. systems, as well as after the classes section, you go into the various beasts and monsters and foes, and you can even use this in your OSR campaigns with minimal adjustment. Now, the classes are specifically set up for Lion and Dragon by the RPG Pundit. Plus, they are thematically tied into, not just thematically tied into the Middle East and the Far East cultures, but they're also authentically as if that the entire world had magic in it, like our world literally had magic in it. That's how they work out. And the magical power, the magical abilities, and the abilities of the various classes are entirely appropriate to the setting. And they are actually well worked out repeatedly. So you have the Silk Road Merchant. You have the requirement of Charisma +8, must be a Valen or a peasant class. Family background will usually be from a long-standing family of merchants. Your hit points are divided by 1d6 hit points modified by con at first level, plus 1 hit point per level thereafter. Combat bonus +1. Saving throws -1 DC. Special Silk Road Merchant starts with a +2 merchant skill as well as a +2 urban lore. And then you have a roll 1d10 benefits table for your Silk Road Merchant. And your Silk Road Merchant is... The nice thing about OSR games is it's just this big. So you can just literally sit there with this book open to that page. And you have your character sheet out. And whenever you level up or something like that, everything's on the page for you. You got the tribesmen in here. As I said, you got the Silk Road Merchant. You have the tribesmen. And then we have the Sufi, which is basically the cleric of the Silk Road campaign. And you have their own special divine abilities, as well as their own magical abilities right here. So, there you go. And then we keep going, and we have in a few more pages, because the Sufi takes up quite a few pages, you get the Sage, which then breaks down into 3 subclasses. And they also have different magical techniques, but they can also learn martial arts. So that's kind of neat. So you got a martial arts section for the Sage as well, as different martial arts styles for each type of Sage. So you have 3 types of Sage. You have 3 types of magical ability groups with different combinations for them. And then you could also get martial arts with your Sage. And each type of Sage has a different style. Plus restrictions depending on various things, like the culture you came from, whether male or female. You have, as I said before, the monsters, animals, and opponents section, which is also open to OSR products with some minor adjustment. You have what I really like here is that there's a morale stat for all enemies, making it so that you know that, hey, if you roll like under a 6, your character that creature is gonna run away. As a game master, you got a variety of critters with different art styles. Not different art styles, but different art in the book. You even got Yeti. And then you got trade, wealth, and equipment. Considering that you have a Silk Road Merchant as a background, there's an entire section here on trading goods and currencies appropriate to the era and the area. So you have equipment section. Keeps going. You got slaves, because you have to deal with slaves if it's in that era. Hirelings. Trade goods. This is the trade goods section right here. Almonds, cinnamon, clover, ginger, pepper, saffron, sugar, silk average, silk damask, silk velvet, English wool, dyed wool, true blue dyed wool, costs of living here, housing costs, mercenary work, income from professions, a big business section on how to run a big business. So if your characters get to the end of their campaign and turn around and decide, hey, we're going to buy and sell goods for a living, they can literally do that. There's even a section on taxes, so the game master can do taxes for their players if you really wanted to. You got special valuables like various gems, like jade, topaz, glowing gem, and such. You got special treasures tables, D100s. Reaction roll for haggling. So if you're haggling with a merchant, there you go. Boom, you got a reaction roll. Some more tables. Keeps going on magical items. And then you got encounters along the Silk Road section. Various things you can run into at various points or randomly occur inside of towns or cities or villages as you go along. And there's a unwanted attention. Say like you're far travelers from another nation, you wandered into a new town or something, and you just kind of hang out a little too long and make yourself a little too well known, and all of a sudden stuff happening. Royal attention, just you do something famous and all of a sudden the royalty notices you and really wants to deal with you in good, bad, and whoa. Nothing's more fun than becoming a captured entertainer. Laws and punishments. There's actually the laws and punishments section covers a great deal many areas in the Silk Road adventure, all the way from the Middle East all the way to the Far East. Middle East law, pre-Muslim and early Muslim law, as well as Chinese law. You have a section on survival, heat, cold, food, water, so forth. You got the chronology of the Silk Road. This gives you a nice little history lesson on the region and major actors. It's actually a rather nice section in itself that outlines everything. It goes from, I forgot to mention, 1186 all the way out to 1222. Yeah, it goes 1186 to all the way to 1222 in history. And then you have various appendices for names of characters. Because you are not from the Middle East, you do not know the proper names for people and places. Unless you are from the Middle East. If you are from the Middle East, drop a line below and tell me popular names. Arabic male names are Abi Baba, Ali, Aliwa, Amar, Amari, Amrun, Anbar, Assad, Ashad. I'm doing terribly because I'm not the Eastern expert in the family. So there you go. You got Arabic names, Persian names, Turkish names, Liao Kirakatan names, Zhao Tengut names, Jin Jerikin Mei names. You got Song Chinese names. You got Song Dynasty names and meanings table, which is kind of neat. Chang is flatter. Bu is to prospect. An is peace. Ba is cinder. Biao is dumpling. Kind of neat. And then it just keeps going. You got Indian names section. So you go in Indian area and you got Indian male and female names. You got a random Appendix 2, Random Encounters and Adventure Seeds. So, hey, you got a nice little section on seeding new adventures in the area. Clients, Caravan Rumors, and Adventure Seeds section. Caravans, Random Mercenaries, Random Merchant Houses, Random Pleasure Houses. Opium and Hashish section. Talking about opium and hashish. Bihong, Magical Drugs. Random Ruins, Random Scholars and Sages. Random Sufis, Random Tribesmen. You got Random Village Table. And that's basically it. And this book is pretty comprehensive, but I got a feeling that if he, in all the research that he has done to make this book, he could probably make another book called Sword and Caravan Companion book. That would add a whole nother layer on top of this. And that would be awesome. And supposedly he's doing quite well with his books. So, there you go. I say this is quite nice. Seeing as I am not the Middle Eastern expert of the family, I really can't say 100% to the accuracy of the book. Everything looks good in here. It takes a reading or two to get for me to get the exact idea of everything. But other than that, once you get through it and get an idea where everything is, it kind of flows quite well. So, it has beautiful artwork, as I said before. Also, you got it right down here at the bottom. You got the table for all the hex grids. So I definitely say I recommend buying this book. It's on Amazon, or you can get it through a drive-through RPG. My preliminary score for it looks like it's going to be around a 4-star. That's my preliminary score, though. Until I actually get around to, say, actually running it. Right there it states Lion and Dragon. Which is this being an expansion too, but it's good with all OSR games. So, here's Lion and Dragon. I did a video prior on it. So, there you go. Seeing as I know quite a bit about medieval times and steel and bronze and copper age history in Europe, this was a whole lot easier to review than Sword and Caravan. However, there's 3 other books for Lion and Dragon. The Dark Albion Cults, and a few more. I think they're even shown in the back of the book. Dark Albion, The Rose War, and Dark Albion, Cults of Chaos. And then there's also an adventure for Dark Albion as well. So you can play through Lion and Dragon and then shoot off into Sword and Caravan and have a ton of fun. So there you go. And as I said, it's a fairly chunky book. Even the soft cover finger. So there you go. It's actually a bit thicker than Lion and Dragon. So there you go. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like and subscribe, and consider sharing this or wherever you can. And I hope you have a delightful day, a nice night, a wonderful week, and a magnificent month. And see you next time.